Coming up at number 10, we have the United Kingdom with 39,400,000 visitors. Afternoon tea, posh accents, and of course the Queen have built Britain into an image of refined elegance. Combining the historical sites of Britain, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland under the United Kingdom banner, we have ourselves a myriad of landing points for tourists. While central London and other major cities have tons to offer tourists, Great Britain's outskirts boom with history and sites such as Neolithic stone circles, crumbling castles and forts, Roman baths, and New Age museums. Scotland is home to the wildlands, bridging lofty lochs and tumbling isles with Chain's historic fortresses and what were once battlegrounds. Northern Ireland, in contrast, is popular for its clinking pints of beer and hip cities, drawing from both modern Britain and Scottish Highlands. Coming in at number 9, we have Germany with 39,600,000 visitors. Germany may be remembered for its rocky history, but it is also the birthplace of great thinkers, inventors, and creatives who ushered in the modern era. From the contemporary architectures by Frank Gehry and Daniel Libeskind to lofty museums and automobile factories, you can track the country's cultural footprints. Cast your eyes beyond the Romanesque and Baroque build of Berlin, Munich, and Hamburg to see the swaying path into rural Germany. The valleys unfold into imposing forests and vast vineyards, reaching towards northern dunes and the chilly Alps. Coming in at number 8, we have Thailand with 39,800,000 visitors. The spiritual and celestial guide many of Thailand's cultural practices, prophesizing the intertwining of sacred spaces and nature. As you trail the splendid estates of gleaming temples and intricate shrines, you'll stumble over the roots of ancient banyan trees, past green framed Buddhas, and other floral offerings. Nature is never far. Thailand's rural heartland comprises deep caves, majestic waterfalls, beautiful rice terraces, and oscillating hills. Chaotic city life and serene farmland aside, visitors come for Thailand's dynamic coast. Over 1,000 islands dot its shores, gentle waters giving life to corals and whale sharks. Sea cliffs and sand strips invite outdoorsy travelers to stay and play, whereas the holiday towns of Koh Tao, Koh Samui, and Koh Phi Phi hard sell with relaxing messages and tropical cuisine. Coming in at number 7, we have Mexico with 45 million visitors. While most known by tourists for its selection of relaxing getaways, vibrant nightlife, and all-inclusive beachfront resorts, Mexico also celebrates its cultural pride and expressive artistic nature that allows for architectural triumphs in both Teotihuacan pyramids, Mayan temples, and colonial towns, as well as masterful art, home to the likes of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. Underground artistic movements have also brought dance and street art to the forefront. Beyond the city's endless cultural riches are also eye-catching jungles, volcanoes, deserts, and coasts. Mexico's boundless nature offers adventures for both hikers and divers. And making it at number 6 in the list, we have Turkey with 51,200,000 visitors. Turkey smolders with desert heat and sun-beaten ruins, backed by the enticing thrum of bustling cities. Having been conquered by the Romans, Byzantines, and Ottomans, Turkey treks its story from fervent Istanbul to the romantic Mediterranean coast. On the way are magical landscapes that range from jutting rock formations to glittering lakes and olive groves, rugged mountains, and beautiful beaches. As if Turkey wasn't alluring enough, its culinary specialties draw from both inland and coastal sources. Spiced kebabs, oil-cooked vegetables, and sweet baklava barely skim the trove of local eats. And making it at the halfway point of today's video, we have Italy with 64,500,000 visitors. The arts come to mind when we think of Italy. The Byzantine architectures, Padua's frescoes, Michelangelo's David, and the greatest of Da Vinci's works, to name a few. Heritage sites feature the remnants of ancient Rome and subsequent empires left in the form of ruins, archaeological sites, churches, and manors. Attention to aesthetics translates into the everyday details too. Italy is home to some of the biggest fashion minds. On the more natural spectrum is extraordinary geological diversity. From the turquoise coral reefs to the icy Alps, Italy flourishes in blues and greens. Where nature is abundant, culinary delights follow. Indulge in the powdery dough of pizza, pasta, and pastry, and an array of fine wines. All right, up at number 4, we have China with 65,700,000 visitors. It is impossible to capture neither China's vastness nor the breadth of its existence. Besides fast developed cities are ancient crumbling villages, the time-worn Great Wall, vibrant hues of Buddhist temples, and water towns. When you've had your fill of modern malls and artifact-filled museums, spare time for China's magnificent landscapes. Choose between Yangshu's winding river, Hong Kong's concrete jungle scape, haunting Mongolia deserts, and the floral crown of Qinghai Lake. Or maybe you're better off picking at the historical intrigues within Beijing's Forbidden City, perhaps seeking out the hidden speakeasies of Shanghai. Regardless, if you come for the scenery, you stay for the food, for China's culinary variations mean anything can be eaten, and eaten with relish. All right, coming in at number 3, we have the United States with 79,300,000 visitors. America has always been a popular travel destination due to its sprawl of metropolises and small town charms. With travel patterns trending toward city hopping and road tripping, America's endless highways are ever appealing. New York City, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Boston are ever evolving urban spaces that boast mixed cultures and cuisines. There is then musical Austin and free-spirited Portland, as San Francisco is dynamic as its coastal waves, and Miami, which entertains with beaches and nightlife. There's also the Grand Canyon, the miles of lush rainforests and country lanes, and when you tune into the radio, the jazz, country, hip-hop, rock, and pop music keeps you company through this mishmash of sights. Coming in at number 2, we have Spain with 83,700,000. Passion flares in Spain, a country crafted for the good life. Embark on an epic road trip looping from Barcelona to Madrid. Gather around the Gothic quarters of Barcelona and browse the experimental works of Gaudi before taking off for the mysterious Alhambra in Granada or the flamenco halls of Seville. There is also Bilbao and San Sebastian in the north, ready to satiate your hunger with delicious pinchos or tapas and avant-garde architecture. For nature that transforms every season, visit the hills of Picos de Europa, the sandy beaches of Menorca, or party it up in Mallorca. And coming in at number 1, the country with the most visitors is France with 89,400,000 visitors. France is without a doubt the most visited country in the world with this record in 2019. Patched up with idyllic villages and romantic cities, France wears its culture in both iconic landmarks and traditional settings. The country's noble castles, villas, and cathedrals pull off ostentatious decor attributed to its long centuries of royal history. The quaint village square markets, beautiful cafe terraces, and the daily rituals of a coffee and croissant present an aura of luxury and timelessness. Don't overlook France's nature either. The lyrical forests of Corsica and the warm waters of the French Riviera are well-sought retreats for city dwellers.
The country coming in at the number 10 spot is Switzerland. Switzerland has a score of 1.366, and in the year 2022, of course, this current year, Switzerland is ranked 5th in safety and security in that category, which is 1 spot lower than it was in 2019. Now, over the previous 5 years, Switzerland, along with several other peaceful countries, has constantly ranked among the top 10 in terms of weapons exports per capita. Switzerland fortunately ranks 4th in the world in terms of food security and is one of the 10 most peaceful countries in terms of ongoing domestic and international conflict. So yes, these countries are ranked in various different categories, but I'm just listing them predominantly based off of the overall rating. But throughout this episode, I may be mentioning where they rank in certain specific categories. With that said, let's move on to number 9, Japan. Japan is the 9th safest country in the world. It has been in the top 10 list for the last 13 years. The country received high marks in the Global Peace Index for low crime rates, internal strife, and political terror. Concerns include Japan's strained relation with its neighbors, as well as the country's self-defense forces' growing size and power. Japan is well known for its strict immigration policies and restrictions on gun ownership. As of 2020, Tokyo, Japan is considered the safest city in the world according to the Economist Intelligence Unit's Safe Cities Index. From there, let's look at Czech Republic coming in at the number 8 spot. In the year 2019, Czech Republic was ranked number 10, but now it has got the number 8 spot. Throughout these years, crime rates have declined in this country, especially when it comes to serious crimes. Despite the country's relatively easy access to weapons, terror issues also has a minor impact on Czech Republic. Now, the drop in rankings is attributed to the country's relatively heavy involvement in international conflicts, a high ratio of convicts per capita, and the evaluation of security forces and its police forces. Number 7 leads us to Singapore. According to the Gallup poll of 2018, Singapore is the place where people enjoy the highest sense of personal security. Even with minor offenses in the country, the culprits face really hard consequences. Guns are under government control, and this city-state is also the world's 2nd safest metropolis, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit's Safe Cities Index, or the EIU. Singapore came in 1st place for infrastructure security, and 2nd place for personal security, and 7th place for health security. The safest country in at the number 6 spot is Canada. Of course, Canada had to be on this list. According to the Global Peace Index, Canada, yes, is 6th when it comes to being safe. It's been at this position since 2019, and the country got exceptionally high marks for internal disputes as well as crime levels and political stability. In addition to plentiful job opportunities as well as easy access to healthcare and having an efficient government structure, well, Canada has some of the world's friendliest people. And as somebody who lives in Canada, you're definitely gonna meet some very friendly people. Almost a little too friendly. Like sometimes they'll say sorry to you if you were the one that accidentally bumped into them. Like it's your fault, but they're apologizing. Oh, Canadians. But yeah, definitely Canadians will be friendly to you, but sometimes will definitely talk behind your back, even though they've been polite to your face. Either way, let's move on. Number 5 leads us to the country of Denmark. It is one of the world's safest and happiest countries. Everyone in the country, including children, feel very safe at all hours of the day and all hours of night. Denmark has a high level of equality as well as a strong sense of shared responsibility for social welfare, all of which contribute to the safety and happiness of the country. Corruption is rare in business or politics in Denmark, where honesty and trust are really valued. Denmark is also a welfare state, which means that everyone is provided with services and benefits that allow them to live very comfortably. Everyone in Denmark has access to free healthcare, free education, and in-home caregivers for the elderly. Coming in at number 4, we have Austria. The score of Austria increased by 0.011 points from 2020's score, but it remained in the 4th position. But unfortunately for Austria, they experienced a decrease in the risk of violent protests following the election of Sebastian Kurz People Party in October of 2017. And as a result of the country's political insecurity, social unrest has grown. Other than that, Austria is a fairly safe nation to visit. Serious crimes are not frequent. However, individuals should look out for pickpocketers and handbag thieves. So keep your personal belongings really close. Number 3 leads us to the country of Portugal. Portugal is in the 3rd position among the world's peaceful and safest countries. In 2014, Portugal was ranked 18th, but it is now ranked 3rd. Unlike Iceland and New Zealand, Portugal has armed police. However, it appears that the increased police presence has resulted in a lower crime rate in the country. Portugal's economy has recovered in the last 6 years, with unemployment falling from more than 17% to now around 7%. Portugal was the best country for retirement in the year 2020, according to the annual Global Retiring Index, and that was owing to its high level of safety. Number 2 leads us to New Zealand. This country has an extremely low rate of crime and particularly a low rate of violent crimes. New Zealand has no dangerous creatures in contrast to its southern neighbor, Australia, which is definitely known for having some dangerous species of all types of creatures. Either way, the attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch on March 15, 2019 resulted in a slight drop in New Zealand's score from the previous year. And New Zealanders, though, they are generally very liberal and there are laws in place to protect people's freedom of expression. Police officers in New Zealand do not carry personal firearms as well. The country coming in at the number 1 spot is Iceland, and it has held this position for the past 13 years in a row. With a population of only 346,000 people, Iceland is a Nordic country, and the standards of living, its small population and high level of trust and lack of conflict between social and economic classes is the reason for the extremely low crime rates. The country does not have a military, and the police in the country normally don't carry any guns. Iceland also has equality legislation in place, such as religious freedoms, legal same-sex marriages and adoption, as well as equal pay for men and women. So with all these factors combined, this is why it is the safest country in the world.
All right, up at number 10, we have Saudi Arabia. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is an Arab country located in Western Asia and constituting most of the Arab Peninsula. Although the country offers fabulous Red Sea beaches, remarkable museums, and tantalizing restaurants, it is a religious destination that reigns supreme. Saudi Arabia is home to Mecca, the most important Islamic destination in the world, thus attracting millions of pilgrims. Although renowned for its oil, Saudi Arabia is investing more in tourism. For the very first time in the country's history, tourist visas were actually granted in 2013. All right, up next we have Kuwait. Kuwait is a country that has often been well known for being rich in oil as well. Kuwait City is the capital of the country and is famous for its modern architecture. Travelers can enjoy views of modern-day skyscrapers as well as ancient, beautifully built mosques, so it truly is a mix of modern and ancient times. One of the most visited destinations in Kuwait is the Kuwait Towers. This hospitable country is also home to Bayan Palace, the islands of Failaka, and the Grand Mosque of Kuwait. Fascinating history can be visited at the Kuwait National Museum. There are also plenty of hotels, amusement parks, and other interesting destinations to visit around the country. Moving on to Bahrain. Bahrain has a history to reflect on with pride. Boasting its own Formula One Grand Prix, a growing art and foodie scene heavily cross-pollinated by Manama's huge expat population, and a wealth of activities enjoyed on the azure waters surrounding this collection of islands, Bahrain will appear to travelers who seek an unpretentious yet confident country bearing all the hallmarks of a modern, wealthy Gulf nation. This multi-layered and multicultural destination is definitely one to consider. Up at number 7, we have Qatar. In just 40 years, this Gulf state has grown from one of the poorest countries in the Gulf to the richest in the world. Mainly functioning on oil and natural gas revenue, Qatar is developing at breakneck speeds, and everything from universities to shopping malls, 5-star hotels to football stadiums, of course, in preparation for the 2022 World Cup, and they are springing up along the desert floor. Many tourists visit the capital city of Doha. Other popular destinations are the Museum of Islamic Art, the Al Jassasiyah rock carvings, and the Zubara Fort. Up at number 6, we have Oman. Oman is an Arab country located on the southeastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. The beauty of the emerald beaches, the rich Arab history in the ancient forts, the lush green mountains, unique wildlife, and endless deserts will give you an Arabian adventure unlike any other on the Gulf Coast. You will find local bazaars or souks filled with handicrafts, and the most famous item of Oman, frankincense. Kind-hearted, helpful, and law-abiding people add up to make this country a must-visit place. And up at the halfway point in our video today, we have Egypt. Egypt is a country that brings to mind the exotic. In Cairo, its most famous city, visitors can enjoy the well-known Cairo Museum, pyramids, the Sphinx, and the Valley of the Kings. Egypt is rich in history, and there's so much to see, including the Red Sea, the Nile River, destinations that boast beaches, desert adventures, temples and mosques, great restaurants, and many architectural delights. The general aura of history is rooted in the culture that pervades the entire country. Up next, we have Jordan. Also known as the Lawrence of Arabia, Jordan is a spectacle of a destination. Jordan is packed with grand structures and hints of old civilizations. The Dead Sea is a popular destination for many reasons, as it offers the lowest point below sea level on the planet, offering the chance to experience the therapeutic waters and air. Many tourists also visit Petra, a city that is said to be over 2,000 years old and built into the side of a mountain, listed as one of the newest 7 wonders of the world. Amman is also a popular city there to visit, with modern malls, hotels, and fine dining establishments. Up at number 3, we have Lebanon. The Lebanese Republic is actually supposed to be the smallest country in the entire continent of Asia. It has a wonderful coastline that you can never get tired of, and even boasts the popular city of Beirut. Lebanon is full of Stone Age settlements, Roman temples, and medieval forts. Popular destinations include Beirut National Museum, Baalbek, the Jeta Grotto, Byblos, Sidon Sea Castle, and of course you must also visit the Lebanese cedars and the many vineyards for some wine tasting while you are there. Up next, we have Turkey. Settled on the border of Asia and Europe, Turkey is an archive of Islamic Middle East impact and the influence of the Christian European West. Turkey at present represents a modern and westernized culture that exists along with its more exotic and esoteric side, hidden from the outside world. Explore the dual sides of the country with the natural panoramic landscape, historic places, fertile valleys, huge mountain ranges, rugged coastline, and quaint villages. The capital of Istanbul is the heart of the country, buzzing with cafes, bustling bazaars, the aroma of spices, enchanting belly dancers, nightclubs, hammams, and natural hot springs. And up at number 1, we have the United Arab Emirates. Once known for its fishing-based economy, today the UAE is much more than vast deserts and ancient forts. Immersed in its rich Emirati culture, the UAE is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, offering touches of modernity with its ever-expanding infrastructure. From its traditional souks to palm-shaped islands, glittering huge malls, luxurious hotels, grand architecture, luxury theme parks, and some of the largest sand dunes, the country offers you a complete package to relax, rejuvenate, and be adventurous all at the same time.